we're back. What's up, everybody? All right, let's just get right to it. I've got the flu. I'm struggling right now. Turn this light on. I've been in the dark. Why? Because this light hurts my freaking head. One of the side effects of having migraines is light bothers me when I'm feeling bad. So like for me to do anything, to do it in the dark sucks. And you stumble around and it's frustrating, right? Got the real flu, the actual flu. In case you don't know, it's much worse than that other fake flu. This one's the real one. And I just feel like I ran a marathon and I haven't done anything. So let's get to it. Let's get to some charts. Not many people are watching anyway, so it's whatever, right? So go hit like, blah, blah, blah. Y'all don't do it anyway, whatever. I've got Bitcoin's daily chart pulled up here. Sorry. I've got Bitcoin's daily chart pulled up here. As we can see, we have multiple failed trend line touches back to back to back here. And we haven't seen anything yet that's going to get us off of the schneid that we've been on, or the rollover here that we've been on, until something happens and we break that trend line, we break the 821 EMA, and we do a little something. We're not going to get much action here. It's as simple as that. We're just stuck in a rut here and can't get out of it. Essentially, there's nothing left to do here. You guys have seen me harp about not grabbing fallen knives many times. In fact, let me record this part. Even with the flu, let me record this part. If you're watching this, let's do the Zoom. If you're watching this and you misquote me, and I tell you misquoted me, then apologize and stop. I do not think things are very bullish. That's embarrassing. And I know what you're doing. You're doing it for clicks. You're engagement farming. You have a whole section in your group for engagement farming. I don't do engagement farming. So stop. Your attempts to troll me and your attempts to try to make me look bad or be counterintuitive to what I'm saying are going to fall on deaf ears, because I'm logic-based, not emotion-based. If you tell me because such and such and such and such, that's why. You just lost me right there. I don't do feelings or becauses. Doesn't work that way to me. I only care about the math and the data. All right. Everything is a fallen knife, less a few assets. Just earlier today, or yesterday, last night, I was feeling a little better last night. It really hit me. It hit me about 11 o'clock at night last night, and I started feeling bad. I woke up this morning like, whoa. I went through the top 100 charts. The top 100 charts. A handful of them look good. A handful. Out of the top 100 cryptos, a handful look good. Now, there are a couple degen coins in there that are very low cap and they look good. And there's a couple that are very iffy and they look good. But out of however many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of cryptos there are a handful that look good. For anyone to try to spin what I'm saying and click farm, that's embarrassing. You should stop. You know better. You're a grown man. I'm not going to do names because I don't do names. If I wanted to do names, I would name you, because there's only one person I make. There's only two people. There's only two people that I point out by name. And only when I'm really on a roll do I do that, because I wouldn't be here if they didn't try to screw me over. There's actually three guys, but I never mention the third guy by name. Those three guys put me where I am, right? When you guys do this, it motivates me to do better. So you're actually screwing yourself over here by trying to troll me. You're just pushing me to work harder. That's the way I work. That's the way my 8 brain works. So that's first. Now that we got that done, and your favorite assets chart looks bad and you can't get over that, and you got to keep telling your community it's such that it looks good and that other people are saying it looks good and calling me the biggest hater. I'm not the biggest hater. I don't hate your asset. I don't hate any assets. I don't. I simply use logic. If it's a buy, it's a buy. If it's a sell, it's a sell. Grow up. Get over it. All right, cool. Back to the charts. So anyway, what is a fallen knife, right? So I give this example before. So you're in the kitchen making a sandwich. Most men aren't going to be able to understand that one.
Damn.
I know, it's a joke. Let's hit some jazz. Most men aren't going to be able to stand that one.
Come on, man. Bruh.
But you know what I mean. And In the process of making your sandwich, you get it all made. You have your ham and turkey on there. You put some lettuce. Maybe you like some other condiments on there. I'm not a condiment guy. Give me a little bit of lettuce, ham, and turkey, and I'm ready to rock. And you take a knife and you cut that knife in half. You take that knife, you cut that sandwich in half. My apologies. And you set the knife down, but in your haste, you accidentally knock the knife off the counter, and there's a moment that happens when you knock that knife off the counter. What is your first reaction? Someone who's watching this, do me a solid and drop a comment and tell me what your first reaction is. What is your first reaction whenever you accidentally knock that knife off the countertop? Anybody, please give me this answer. You all know the answer. And I'm going to directly use this logic on the charts. It's very important. It's very important. Matoshi chose to troll. He said, catch that shit. Wrong.
Wrong.
A smart man goes, and they back up, and they do their hands up. They might even do a fancy little two-step. Thank you, Miles. Thank you, Miles. At Miles Wampler 813, got it right. You back up. You get out of the way. Guess what? It's smart. Otherwise, that knife will fall and hit your feet, perhaps cut you, perhaps stab you, slice an artery. You go to the hospital, cost thousands of dollars worth of medical bills. Or you could try to catch it, and you might catch the blade and cut your hand and then have to go to the hospital and get thousands of dollars worth of medical bills, ruin your night, perhaps miss work, cause your career to end, cause your life to stop, cause your family to leave you. Or you could just back up and let that knife fall. In fact, even after you let the knife fall and the knife's bouncing around, do you reach down there with the knife's bouncing around and start grabbing? No. You let the knife fall. You let the knife bounce around and stop spinning. Then, when it's safe, you pick the knife back up. Guess what, folks? I'm about to show you a bunch of charts, and at the end, we'll switch. I'm about to show you a bunch of charts where it's just falling knife, falling knife, falling knife, falling knife. And if you can use logic in your adult brain, you'll know better than to hurry up and go buy it. Okay? Is that fair? I think that's fair. Now let's get to it. I've started here with Bitcoin because it's the only thing really worth watching right now. Everybody who wants to watch alts are just being disappointed on a daily and hourly and momentarily basis. It's a terrible idea to watch altcoins right now. You're just going to get frustrated and upset. I highly suggest not looking at altcoins. So anyway, you failed the trend line. You continue to fail the trend line. You continue to pile up shorts. Look at all of these shorts in here piled up, not being attacked, not being chased, nothing. The only shorts you chased were right here at the $93,500, $94,000 range. And they immediately failed and piled more shorts in on top of it. All right, that was the only spot we had so far where there was a ton of shorts get nuked. And there wasn't even really that lot. The shorts are in the billions. The longs are in the double-digit millions. There are far, far, far more shorts than there are longs right now. And that has to stop. You have to break the trend to change that, to start getting those shorts to flip long, or getting the shorts to take their money and walk away. And it just hasn't happened yet. Okay, it hasn't happened yet. When will that happen? Well, when the knife stops falling. And when will the knife stop falling? Well, that's not up to us to decide. It's up to us to wait for the knife to stop falling. And it's not up for us to catch it. It's up for us to back up and let it happen. If I grab the lower wick here on Bitcoin and I pull up with a Fibonacci retracement set, we clearly have a trend failure. There was your little dotted trend line. Fail and big downtrend has started inside of a bigger downtrend. Gnarly. Now, there's some good stuff here. It did come down to the golden pocket and throw a wick. And so far, it's thrown another candle back in the other direction in green. So right now, oh no, FOMO. I've got to buy. It's green.
Wrong.
You do not have to buy. You feel like you need to buy. Big difference. Big difference. This hasn't gotten through the 50 fib yet back in the other direction. Coincidentally, that 50 fib is lined up with resistance right through here. Coincidentally, just above that 50 fib, even if it does get up there, is your 8 EMA that's slowly grinding its way down here after trying to give you an 821 cross and then failing south again. This will be the first, second, third, fourth, fifth close underneath the 21 EMA. We need 2 closes over the 8 EMA before we even get a first inkling of a buy signal. Now, we had that back here. It lasted a couple days. We had that back here. It lasted a couple days. It's probably going to keep doing this, huh? That's right. So rather than keep being the fool who jumps and grabs falling knives, let's just step back and wait a second. Here's your RSI. Your RSI had some bullish divergence here. You had strength building, and you had price that was sideways or down. Problem, now we're going back the other way. Now we have bearish convergence, price going down, strength falling. Not great. Add in your MACD. You never crossed into the bullish territory, which would have been above the midline here, which would have started a whole nother rally, because that's the way technical analysis works. We're starting to even threaten crossing back down here underneath the midline in bearish territory. Your volume is about to fall off and flip red here. Not great. How about pivot points? All right, we got a pivot point. We got a pivot point up here at 94,000, exactly where we tagged and failed. Not great. And our next pivot point is down here at 82,300, and it has to the end of the month to get there. Another 15 days. It's going to suck, isn't it? Yeah. It very well could get down there, huh? Yeah. As a matter of fact, there are longs sitting down here waiting to get liquidated that aren't even far away, starting at 84,500. We just didn't nip them yet. Beyond that, there are even more longs that we did not take out back in November. We didn't get those longs. We came close, but that's about 78,000. Now, at 78,000, is it worth risking it and buying some? Well, if you want to take that risk, knock yourself out. That's not going to be me. I need to see some proof. It's too risky right now. It's too dicey to want to jump in there and throw my money at this, and it's just going to continue to fail over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So, 2 downtrends. There's the big red downtrend, a pivot fail, more shorts piling in, another short-term downtrend right here, BACD rolling over, RSI rolling over. Ichimoku cloud's a joke. Forget about that. You do have the conversion line over the baseline. That's nice, but your lag line is threatening to fall back outside of the candles. It had slipped over the candles the other day. It's threatening to fall back under them now. You need to break the cloud, which you're nowhere near breaking. And look how wide this cloud is right here at the end. That will not fall easy. That will not fall easy. Even if it gets in that cloud, it's going to have a hard time getting out of it. It's not easy to break bearish momentum. It is very easy to break bullish momentum. That's the reason they don't call it a bear run. They call it a bull run, because they don't run often. But the bears are always ready. Okay? Bears hibernate, but then they wake up and they attack. And they keep attacking for a very long time. Then they go back to sleep for a little while. Okay? It's the opposite of a bull. So, keep your eyes on this. Keep your bearings straight. Don't be the idiot who thinks he needs to constantly buy and constantly buy. It doesn't work that way in the real world. Only the people who have a wealth of money can afford to do that. And if you're watching this channel, or if you followed along from the very beginning, you don't have a wealth of money. You never did. That's the whole reason you're watching. So grow up. Use your brain and be smart. I know this is mostly falling on deaf ears because hardly nobody's even watching this, but I'm still going to do it because I still got 15 minutes left and I still have a voice until they silence it again. All right, so let's go through some altcoins. I'll just record all of them in bulk. I think that's probably the better thing to do here. We got a similar problem with Ethereum that we have with Bitcoin. It's nothing more than a falling knife. You have a very, very, very aggressive slow over, roll over, quit in here. You had an uptrend going, but it looks like you could have failed it right through here. Tough to call. It might be all right. It might be right on the trend line. It's really hard to say right now, but I need some proof to show me otherwise. Well, where would I go looking for proof? I pull up some exponential moving averages, some EMAs. EMAs say no. 50 moving average says no. About to have a 100, 200 cross downward. That means no. How about your MACD and your RSI? Uh-oh. RSI just flipped red. After all that nice volume came in and you headed back toward that midline, you've already flipped red again. Be careful. RSI, a little bit better than Bitcoin, I'll admit here. It's still a little bit higher and it isn't trending toward oversold like Bitcoin is. but it still slowed way down. RSI went from 58 to 41 in a matter of days, and it took a long time to get up to 58. So like I said, the bulls are kind of small and the bears are very, very aggressive. Ichimoku cloud, you do have 2 out of 4. Your lag line is over the candles and your conversion line is over the baseline. Problem is this big old fat red cloud right here needs to flip green, and the price needs to get over that cloud, and it's nowhere near it. Right? So the big challenges are still ahead here. Now, would you like to DCA? Do your thing. But understand you're buying a falling knife. Be careful. All right. BNB. All right. After running up and hitting the 2 fib in linear and almost the 1618 in log, BNB continues to slow down here. We were doing better, and it was actually one of the better looking assets. BNB really outperformed most of the market. It was one of the front runners, one of the few 5 or 10 that were doing really, really, really well. All right. If you guys don't know, we have an automatic screener in our Discord, wap.com/team786 at the bottom. There's an automatic screener that goes through this and finds out which ones are more bullish and which ones are more bearish. And it posts it every single day at closing. All right. So, problem. You failed the 821 EMA. You look like you were going to get over, and then yeet right back in the other direction. Big failure. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, gosh. Big failure down. Now, what has happened? Under the 200 moving average, it shot up. Under the 200 moving average, it shot up. Under the 200 moving average, are you going to shoot up again? Big difference here is this 821 EMA is rolling over and bearing down on that 200 moving average, getting sticky. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see stickiness. You want to see this thing break out, go in the other direction. This doesn't look grand. This doesn't look grand. I need this back over the 200 and the 821 EMA. And as a matter of fact, look at this 50 moving average that is barreling down toward the 200. That would be a death cross. No bueno. All right, how about XRP? Everybody's favorite. If you just wait, you're going to have a bullish bounce. And everything's going to go flying back up.
Wrong.
You should know better. Oh, man, I'm sweating, dude. This is crazy. Freaking hate being sick. All right, so what do I see here? I see a new low. Not great. I see a failed fib line right here on a high time frame. Yep, there you go. That's a big old school all-time high fib, isn't it? Oh, wow, it is. That's the previous all-time high from 2021, and we're failing that now. That's no good. Yikes. Big, big failure for XRP here. If it continues to do this and doesn't get back moving again, a 100 moving average weekly at 164 becomes an object of affection here. But even that may not stop it, and I'll show you some other stuff that would maybe prove that that might not stop it. We'll get to that in a moment, but this continues to be a very, very aggressive falling knife. Look at the weekly RSI. Was overbought, tickled overbought back in July, and has done nothing but failed since in a very straightforward and downward path. Brutal failure. MACD, forget about it. Holy smokes. Big sell-off. Tons of sell volume rolling in, just throwing it for a loop. Your pivot point is at 179, so 179 to 165 would be my next floor price here, and that doesn't mean that's where it's going to stop. That just means we're as likely to have another little bounce. Could that be a very, very big bounce? Yeah, there's a tiny chance of that. Could that be a very small, minuscule, and large-scale failure? Yeah, could be. Back to the daily. Here's your pivot point you're on right now at S1 is at 189. If you see S2 right here at 171, it's a little closer to that 165 range. And this right here being 189 is a little more than that 174 price I said earlier. So somewhere in here is likely where we're to come down to. Now, how fast? It could happen overnight. How fast would the bounce be? Much, much slower. So I don't really see anything bullish here either. It's a very, very aggressive and ugly chart. As far as the cloud goes, absolutely 4 out of 4 nope. Not for me, not for anybody really. It's a gnarly looking chart. I had a guy ask me, I want to invest in RXP. How do I do it? And I was like, oh boy, here we go. I just stopped the comment right there and I said, all right, dude, I'll show you how to download the app and do what you want. that's where I stopped. I think you guys think I go around and just promote crypto for everyone. I don't. There's not a single coin in this world that I love or that I hate. I just do what I do. I just do charts. Can it not be that complicated, please? Can it not just be as simple as that? I don't do coins that I love or hate. I just do charts. Now, depending on the engagement, yeah, we'll change the pace here and we'll pick a different coin if that's the case. We get on a burner, well, we're going to talk about it more. If we get on something that's really, really bad, yeah, the community is backing it as the next big thing, but the thing is just falling rapidly. Well, we're going to talk about that too, because it shows that confirmation bias that we don't want to have. Right? So we want to remove our emotions. It's hard for everybody to do, especially DAG people, and that's what we'll talk about next. Boy, if there's a hardcore, I feel like community, it's this one. That one and XRP. Those are the two hardcore, I feel like communities. Doesn't matter how bad it looks, they're buying more. On the hopes that one day they get that lottery ticket and bam, the thing goes shooting up in price and they're all rich. But I ask you, even if that happens, you're not going to sell it. So how are you going to get any profits for it? Had a guy tell me the other day he bought 500,000 DAG coins. The price is a penny right now. That means he spent $250,000 on DAG. Do you see on this chart anywhere where $250,000 worth of DAG showed up? Because I'm telling you right now, if you did that over on KuCoin, oh boy, it's going to ruin the order book. If you do that anywhere, it's going to ruin the order book and you're immediately going to get wicked back. Either way, he's already underwater on doing so. All right. It looks like it's trying to bounce right now. I'm going to give you a word of warning. It hasn't broken anything worth really moving the needle on. I will say that MACD is still trending up. That's good. See that? I'm not hating. You got good volume considering the other ones we just saw, right? And the RSI, oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and almost 8 times oversold. Yeah, I can understand why someone would want to start buying that, but it comes with a big warning. You've done it 8 times. Can it do 10 times or 20 times or 30 times? Yes, it can. So wait on some proof. As far as your EMAs go, you're nowhere near breaking the 821 EMA. You haven't even gotten to the 8 EMA yet. And every single time we see some of this green volume come in, we see this thing turn around. Now, I'm hoping that this is the final failure, but there's no proof of that. All right. You're under S1. You're not to S2. You're kind of floating around in the fibs, floating around in the pivots. And that's usually a sign that there's more down coming. Just hang on. Ichimoku Cloud, that's a joke. This thing's a falling knife. So while sure, you've got a couple days of bullish volume coming in, look at this weekly, dude. It's just miserably crummy. It's down 97% from all-time high. And to compare that with some, Doge is down 50%, XRP is down 25%, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, some are down more, but most aren't down as bad as this one is. Does that mean that's an opportunity for you to buy? You do your thing. You guys know how I do it. It's going to be TA-based, not emotion-based. It's underneath support here, and it better hang on, because if it doesn't, I got 2 more target boxes drawn down here. It could go all the way to 0.07 of a penny. Then I would have believed you bought $250,000 worth. All right. And one more, we'll do Solana. I'll check some stocks, then we'll be gone. I'm going back to bed, dude. What a day. Whew. All right, so I drew this chart a long time ago for Solana, and I drew some resistance lines up here way back in the day. Yeah, my voice. There we go. R4 I drew as resistance 4 on the way back up, and sure enough, it did break that, but it came right back down to it, and that's right about the level we're playing with right now. See that right there? Right about the level we're fooling around with. We failed that. With this weekly, throwing this many wicks and this many ugly candles, I am to think it's more bearish than bullish. Here's your daily. RSI and MACD rolled over. You're almost to a new lower low here. Not quite. So far, it's an even low. So it's not quite a lower low just yet. This is trying to find its footer here, right? Hasn't done it yet. You need to see some kind of change here before it's found its footer. So far, this thing is just trying. You got some buyers trying to do something here, but it's weak and not enough volume to really get you over the hump. pivot points. You're floating in between them, aiming toward the lower pivot. Ichimoku cloud, you do have the conversion over the base, but everything else is a no. 3 out of 4 no everywhere else. So yeah, even the top 5 look bad. So I ask you again, is it really worth going crazy here? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's better to be more careful. But what do I know, right? Do what you're going to do. You're going to be a degen anyway. Whoever listens to me. Matoshi said, imagine how many people bought XPR instead. I know, dude, and that's a Coinbase listed coin as well. Isn't that crazy? They're one letter apart from each other. So let's go into some stocks real quick. And we'll dance through these, and then we will be done. And I'm going back to bed. So here's your S&P 500. Here's your S&P 500. Danced off the trend line. Also, the 50 moving average is right there. But be careful. She failed the 821 EMA. We've seen stocks do this before where they kind of consolidate sideways. So long as you don't lose big support, which would be back here at about 675. 673. As long as you don't lose that, you're okay. You're in cool water. As far as the cloud goes, you're still well over it. You're still 4 out of 4, but you're about to follow the lag line into the candles. So it may slow down here for a few days before it figures out what it wants to do. NASDAQ, big slowdown here for the NASDAQ, very similar to the S&P 500, only a little bit more aggressive because it was more aggressive on the way up. All right, 821 and 50 moving average here. Watch out. See that? It failed all 3 of them. Decent candle at the bottom here. There's some buy pressure, but I think it may end up getting pinned under these moving averages and rolling over. And if it does, back to the 100 moving average for that one. Dow Jones Industrial, 821 EMA. Looks like it's trying to fail it. It closed right on the 8 EMA. That would make me think that tomorrow we likely get a little bit of volatility at New York beforehand in the pre-market. It's 3 red days in a row up top. That's usually enough for everyone who's a bearish chart pattern guy to go, all right, I'm shorting it. Be careful here. And let's do the Russell IWM. This is the Russell 2000 index. 821 EMA here, dead set on wait a minute. You're down a little bit post-market, not a ton, only a couple ticks. 3 days of red again, like the Dow Jones. So be careful. This could be a bearish signal for everyone who's a big bear. Tesla, oh boy. Look at that. New all-time high close for Tesla. It has been a really, really long time. It's been a solid 363 days, but Tesla has broke all-time high.
Damn.
Big move for Tesla. I got back in after my shit failed and rolled over. I just choose basic technical analysis to buy it. I ended up with a couple less shares, but I still got a bunch. I'm going to ride this out. I think we're heading up to this $500 range now. If I pull some short-term fibs on this, I get some ideas of where this breakout is going to go. This is price discovery, and this is how we figure out where the price is going to go in price discovery, okay? We have mathematical targets on the way up. These Fibonacci numbers are repetitive numbers all throughout history, all throughout nature, all throughout mathematics. And these numbers right here, the 1272, the 1414, and the 1618, are mathematical Fibonacci numbers where we tend to see reversals, either direction, down or up, doesn't matter. And since we've broken through previous all-time high, the 1 fib, and we've broken through all the other markers, the golden pocket, which it played around with a little bit here, Sniper's Alley, which it's also played around with, but got through that. Now it's heading for the take profit fibs. First one is at 503. You can call it 500 if you want to be even. If I flip it to linear mode, you'll see 1272 changes a little bit because we're messing with the scale of the chart, but that's 499.75. Call it 500, right? Fair enough. That's like a fair number, 500. Beyond that, you got 519 and 542. So what are the rough numbers there? 500, 520, 540. And if I flip it to linear mode, you get something similar. 500, 515, 530. Right? So something similar, log and linear. That tells me that these fibs are going to be active when it actually gets up here. Now, she's broken out and she's almost overbought. Again, you're probably going to see an overbought condition and this thing run into the take profit fibs and throw a couple red candles. That doesn't mean it's over. That means it's looking for more buyers on the way up, just like an elevator, all right? Beyond that, if it goes farther, and I do think in time that it will, our upper take profit fibs where our blow off top level is 566 and 591, or roughly 600. And that's just in linear. In log mode, it's 600 to 625. So those numbers are starting to get big, aren't they? So again, 500 to 535, 540 is a fair guesstimate for this thing stops first, at least takes a breather. After that, we could see this thing go even farther toward the $600 range, where I got to start thinking about taking some profits at some point. You know what I mean? So you got a little bit of everything here. You got me going on a diatribe about how influencers are stupid. Just be a man, dude. You have my cell phone number. Just text me or call me. What are you doing? That's the craziest part of all of it. You got my cell phone number, dude. Just call me. What are you doing? You can just talk to me in person. Why are you texting on the phone like a woman? Come on, dude. You've seen crypto's a bit of a falling knife, even the top 5. There are a few outliers, yes, but mostly terrible. And then we've seen some stocks that have slowed down. The indices have slowed down, yet Tesla's on an absolute rip. So there's stuff out there to buy. You just have to be willing to buy something else other than Bitcoin or crypto all the time. And I am. I'm open to buying anything that looks good. So with that, thank you all for being here. I appreciate every single one of you coming. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me. I appreciate that. I'm pouring sweat. It's dripping down my sides right now. That's crazy. This is insane, y'all. I fucking hate being sick. Make the best of your todays, the worst of your tomorrows. Please do better than I am right now. Is that a fair statement? Can you do better than me? I think you can. And last but not least, please remember, if no one else told you today, Keith will tell you, Keith loves you. It's a lot of hateful people in the world. We don't have to be that way. You can talk to each other. It's not that complicated. Thank you all. Appreciate it. If I feel up to it, we'll do another stream on Thursday. I try not to miss them even if I feel bad. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be good. I'm out. Sky's the limit. Peace.